Hey everyone, Linus here. We all know the feeling. You're waiting for your computer to load a program, render a video, or just open a web page, and it feels like it's taking forever. We crave speed, and that's where CPU caches come in. They're like the secret sauce that makes your computer feel snappy and responsive. Think of it like this. Your CPU, the brain of your computer, processes instructions and data constantly. But fetching this data from the main memory, the RAM, takes time. That's where CPU caches step in, acting as super-fast middlemen. They store frequently accessed data closer to the CPU, so it can be retrieved much faster. In this journey through the world of CPU caches, we'll explore how they work their magic and why they're essential for a smooth computing experience. So, buckle up and let's dive in. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of CPU caches, let's take a quick detour to understand the memory hierarchy in your computer. At the top, we have the CPU registers, the fastest but smallest type of memory, holding data that the CPU is actively working on. Next comes the RAM, or random access memory. This is where your programs, files and data hang out while you're using them. It's much larger than registers, but also slower. And finally, we have your hard drive, or SSD, which stores all your data permanently, but it's the slowest of the bunch. Now imagine the CPU constantly needing to access data from the slowpoke hard drive. It would be a nightmare. That's where RAM comes in, providing a faster intermediary. But even RAM isn't fast enough to keep up with the lightning-fast CPU. And that, my friends, is where CPU caches swoop in to save the day. CPU caches are like small, super-fast memory banks strategically placed between the CPU and the main memory RAM. They store copies of frequently used data and instructions, so the CPU doesn't have to wait for the slower RAM to deliver them. Think of it like this. Imagine you're a chef and your ingredients are stored in a pantry, or RAM. You constantly need to grab these ingredients while cooking. Now, wouldn't it be faster if you had a small countertop cache next to you to keep the most frequently used ingredients within arm's reach? That's exactly what CPU caches do. They act as a high-speed staging area for data, reducing the need for the CPU to make those time-consuming trips to the pantry, or RAM. This results in a significant boost in performance, making your computer feel much more responsive. Section 4, the cache hierarchy. L1, L2, L3, a trio of speedsters. Not all caches are created equal. In fact, there are different levels of caches, each with its own speed and size, forming what we call the cache hierarchy. At the top, we have the L1 cache, the smallest and fastest cache, located directly on the CPU core itself. It's divided into two parts: the instruction cache, which stores frequently used instructions, and the data cache, which stores frequently used data. Next comes the L2 cache, larger and slightly slower than L1, but still much faster than RAM. It acts as a secondary storage, holding data that didn't fit in L1 or data that was recently evicted from L1. Finally, we have the L3 cache, the largest and slowest of the three, but still faster than RAM. It's often shared between multiple CPU cores and acts as a final staging area before going to the main memory. You can think of it like this. L1 cache is like your shirt pocket, L2 cache is like your backpack, and L3 cache is like your car trunk. The closer and smaller the storage, the faster you can access it. Section 5, Cache Mechanics 101, Hits, Misses, and Evictions. Now that we understand the different levels of caches, let's see how they work in action. When the CPU needs a piece of data, it first checks the L1 cache. If it finds the data there, it's a cache hit. This is the ideal scenario, as the CPU gets the data instantly. However, if the data isn't found in the L1 cache, it's a cache miss. The CPU then checks the L2 cache, and if it's still not there, it goes to the L3 cache. If the data is found in any of these caches, it's fetched and also copied to the higher level caches, anticipating future use. But what happens when a cache is full and new data needs to be stored? That's where cache replacement policies come in. These algorithms decide which existing data in the cache should be evicted to make room for the new data. It's a constant game of optimization, trying to predict which data is least likely to be used again soon. Section 6, Caches in Action. from gaming to video editing. The impact of CPU caches on your computer's performance is undeniable. Take gaming, for example. Games require the CPU to process a ton of data quickly, from rendering graphics to calculating physics and AI. A larger cache, especially L3, can significantly improve frame rates and reduce stuttering, resulting in a smoother, more enjoyable gaming experience. Similarly, video editing software heavily relies on CPU power. When you're applying effects, rendering videos, or working with large video files, a larger cache can drastically speed up these processes, saving you valuable time and frustration. But it's not just about high-intensity tasks. Even everyday tasks like web browsing, word processing, and emailing benefit from CPU caches, making your entire computing experience feel snappier and more responsive. Section 7, Conclusion Caches, the unsung heroes of computing. So there you have it, folks. CPU caches may be hidden deep inside your computer, but their impact on performance is undeniable. They act as the unsung heroes of computing, bridging the speed gap between the CPU and the main memory, and making everything you do on your computer faster and smoother. Next time you're blazing through a game, editing a video, or simply browsing the web without a hitch, remember the crucial role that CPU caches play in making it all possible. They're the silent workhorses that keep your computer running at its best. Until next time, keep it snappy.